if I'd had the help when I really desperately needed it, I would probably be doing a lot better than I am now. But better late than never, I guess. He was in my life, I would see him often and stuff like that, but I didn't spend enough what I would call quality time with him. So when he was dying, so he had cancer, when he was dying and I knew that he was dying, I was selfish and didn't go to see him as often as I could because I was scared of like the last visual image of him, like him being ill. I didn't want that as the last thing that I saw. So after a certain point, I just decided like I'm not gonna go back. And it was the day, either the day of or the day before, and I said to myself, no, do you know what, you need to stop being selfish, you need to go and see him. And my dad called me and told me that my granddad had passed. Whoa. My dad called me and told me that my granddad had passed away. And that was the first time that then, I guess, I spiraled into, back into depression again. For like a solid 3 months, I would like cry myself to sleep every single night. I couldn't focus on stuff. It was really bad. This is proper mad. It's life. It's definitely life. And that's one thing, like, people have to realise that a lot of people are going through similar things. People might not go through the exact same thing as you, but everyone's struggling. It might be like on different levels, but it's hard. But you just have to, I don't know. I know it's so hard to tell people, like, keep your head up, like, keep going, because if you don't have something that you think is like worth living for, this whole life like seems like so pointless. So like, my thing was, if I kill myself and I'm gone, how will my mum cope? How will my siblings cope? Like, how will my decision affect the rest of their lives? And I love my family so much that I couldn't do that to them, and that's like the only reason that I didn't like do it. So yeah, shout out to my mum. Like, for real, I tell her all the time, like, she has no idea how much she means to me. But I guess, yeah, if she sees this, then she'll know. So counselling for me, so I think what I do is called CBT, which is like, I don't really know what it stands for. I feel like it's like cognitive behavioural therapy. And I basically go fill in a form which has like a scale from, I think it's like 1 to 10, and it has different questions. So it asks you like, in the last 2 weeks, have you felt like life wasn't worth living, but it's something like, in the last 2 weeks, have you felt like you were useless? In the last 2 weeks, have you lost pleasure in doing like normal activities in the last 2 weeks, blah, 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 because my sessions are every 2 weeks. So at the end of filling that out, she'll mark up the scores and then tell me whether my anxiety or low mood level has decreased or increased. So I had a session on Thursday, and my last session before that was Wednesday, and it was 2 Wednesdays before. And on the Thursday after my session before that, my great-grandmother passed away. So by the time I went to my next session, my score levels had gone up. And at first I used to think that these forms were like pointless, and I was like, oh, every time I come here you make me fill in this stupid form and it's not really telling you anything. And then it's only when she said to me like, oh, so your scores have gone up, tell me what's happened in the last 2 weeks. And I realised that to me it might not seem beneficial filling this out, but it is a way to determine like if someone is coping or not coping, and to see that like something's gone on in their life that has affected their mood, and their like pleasure in doing certain things. So after we go through that, I'll tell her like what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. She sets me like a task to do, so I also have to do a diary, where every day I have to put all of the stuff that I've done in the day and list whether, there's two things. It's like if you enjoyed what you done and if you have a sense of achievement. So I think you mark that out of 10 as well. So you'd put like, let's say I got ready, because for some people even just getting out of bed and doing something so normal like getting dressed is really hard for them. So on some days I might feel like getting up and out of bed was an achievement because I didn't feel like getting up and getting out of bed, but I done it. And then also, yeah, how much you enjoy it. So that way you can track if you're doing enough things that you enjoy, because there's a scale and you have to do enough things that are routine, enough things that are necessary, and enough things that you enjoy in order to have a balance in life. And if you have any one of those things too much than the other, even if you're like doing too many things that you enjoy and you're not doing the necessities and routine, you can fall into depression or low mood. So it's been beneficial in like understanding stuff like that. But I feel like I would have maybe, what's the word? Benefited more if I'd got help when I really needed it, like when I was at the lowest of the low. Like now I'm kind of able to cope with stuff. So now it's just like, yeah, retraining my mind on how to keep coping with things and dealing with things. So yeah, I'm glad that I go, and I'm very like open and vocal about going, because I know a lot of people that are suffering silently, and don't want to get help. And I try to stress to them, like, I know how hard it is to make that first phone call to your doctor, and then you have to make a phone call to like the therapy line, and then you have to have a telephone consultation. And each time one of these things happens, it's like your anxiety levels go up and you get scared and you don't want to do it. But it's something that you need to do. Like, I don't know how people get themselves out of depression or learn how to cope and stuff, but definitely like now having this, and this is like an independent person that doesn't know everything else that's going on with you, so they only know what you share with them, so they don't have an opinion on certain things. Whereas like if you tell your friends things, it's like, okay, well, I know this backstory and I know who that other person is, and there's too many things going on. This is like an independent person that just deals with what you're telling them that you're going through. And it really does help. I think I'm kind of at a stage now where it's weird, as long as things don't go too left in life, I can cope. But it's always the unexpected things. It's always the unexpected things that I don't know how to cope with. So there's nothing that had happened for a long period of time which like led to me to believe that I was okay. So now that like obviously my great grandma has passed away, that's something that's really hard for me. And if I didn't have these sessions, I probably wouldn't know how to cope right now, and I probably would be like broken, because a part of me is broken, but I'm able to kind of hold it together. So yeah, I don't know, I think in my situation, I feel like I would be okay. I wouldn't be great, because I obviously still have things that I need to work on, but I would be okay. If I'd had the help when I really desperately needed it, I would probably be doing a lot better than I am now. But better late than never, I guess.